Queen summoned everyone to a private meeting. Everyone attended except Meghan Markle. I don't blame Meghan for not going because nothing good happens when white people invite you to the countryside.
Meghan Markle is on the American program Suits.
Yes, Wednesdays, 8 p.m, USA Network. Check it out.
The only difference between that show and this is people watch this one.
Generously offered to keep the wax figures of Harry and Meghan safe.
Yeah, that's correct. I would just like to say that I'm definitely not using the wax figures for sex stuff.
What did he say?
I don't know how to break this to you, H. But if you weren't in the royal family, M wouldn't be with you.
I'm so busy and happy. I'm glad we didn't make it, Harry. I don't want to be a duchess and live in a huge house for free.
She comes from an unconventional family. Yes, very different family.
The lights dim on a packed studio audience, the anticipation palpable. Trevor Noah, ever the master of witty repartee, is in full flow, a mischievous glint in his eye as he sets his sights on a certain duchess. And then, it happened. A hush fell over the room. Whispers quickly turned to murmurs, then gasps. Rumors say a certain royal storm was brewing right there on live television, a drama so potent it allegedly caused a seismic shift in the very fabric of celebrity etiquette. What could possibly have transpired to send such shockwaves through the entertainment world?
And I know some people are disappointed by the name Archie. There's one person who's super excited, the Queen. Yeah, because you know for the last 9 months, she's been like, please don't be Jamal. This is what happens when you bring the first black woman into the royal family. She looked at Harry and she's like, nigga, you need to get a job. You a grown-ass man. You can't still be living in your mama's house, Harry.
Well, let's just say the air conditioning in that studio suddenly felt very, very broken. Or perhaps it was just the heat from Trevor's opening monologue. He started, as he often does, with that unparalleled global perspective of his, dissecting the royal drama with a surgical precision that most late-night hosts can only dream of. He wasn't just telling jokes. He was performing a comedic autopsy, peeling back layers of PR and carefully curated narratives. We heard how he dove headfirst into the topic of names, for instance. Rumors swirled about the Queen's personal hopes for baby Archie's name. Imagine the internal sigh of relief at Buckingham Palace, you know? Allegedly, for 9 months, the prevailing royal prayer was, please don't be Jamal, please don't be Jamal. It's almost like they were worried about a sudden, unexpected craving for fried chicken and hip-hop in the royal nursery. But Trevor didn't stop there. He's got a nose for the subtle, isn't he? He called out the coded language, exposing the thinly veiled critiques of Meghan's unconventional family. Oh, because Harry's family, the one with literal centuries of unconventional behavior, is just so conventional.
Can you imagine being his boss when he screws up? Like, what do you call him in and say, Prince Harry, get in here, your majesty. You blew the Henderson account. Back in the day, it used to be like, if you marry my daughter, I'll give you burgundy. Now it's like, my wife actually does a pretty good Timon. You should hear her. Come on, baby, do the thing. Hakuna Matata, do the... Harry and Meghan are losing their titles? That's the most embarrassing royal loss since William's hairline. And I won't lie, if I was Harry and Meghan, I'll be like, fine, then we'll be known as royal. It's not like Harry and Meghan need those titles for us to know who they are. No one hears names like Harry and Meghan and they're like, which Harry and Meghan? The ones from Nashville? Is that Meghan and Harry's son Archie? He's gonna grow up and be like, so let me get this straight. We used to be in the royal family? Like I could have been a king and now I'm working at Burger King? Is that what you...
It just makes you wonder, doesn't it, what other unconventional traits were causing such a stir behind palace walls? And speaking of unconventional, what about the Great American Experiment? You know, the one where a prince who grew up with footmen and falconry suddenly finds himself in the land of job applications and 401ks. Trevor didn't miss a beat. He painted a picture, not with words like, imagine this, but with a straight-up comedic vision of Meghan, the modern American woman, looking at her prince. You could practically hear her saying, honey, you're a grown man. You can't still be living in your mom's house, Harry. Get a job. The thought of Prince Harry navigating a corporate cubicle, trying to explain his previous experience as Duke of Sussex, occasional polo player, is just too rich. Can you picture his boss calling him in? Your Royal Highness, my lord, you really blew that Henderson account. It makes you think about the practicalities, doesn't it? Like, what exactly does a prince put on his resume? Skills. Waving, ribbon cutting, occasionally looking bewildered. But the real question, the one that kept popping up like a royal family member at a charity gala, was what happens when the money starts looking a bit less royal.
And I treat them better than the museum ever did. They didn't appreciate Meghan's soft hands or Harry's supple?
Meghan Markle is on the American program Suits.
Yes, Wednesdays, 8 p.m. USA Network. Check it out.
The only difference between that show and this is people watch this one.
That's where Trevor pivoted to the infamous Lion King premiere. Oh, the whispers were deafening, weren't they? The idea of Prince Harry, a descendant of kings and queens, essentially pitching his wife for voiceover work at a movie premiere. It used to be, marry my daughter and I'll give you a dukedom, a castle, maybe a small country. Now it's, my wife does a pretty good Timon impression. Hakuna Matata, baby, do the thing.
Whenever the kids are being fussy and not going to bed, she puts on an episode of Suits and they're out. So,
What are you doing? Ow! Stop it!
Buckingham Palace does not comment on political matters. Thank you and goodbye.
Thank you and goodbye, said Williams here. Yes.
The notion of a royal couple essentially hustling for gigs, making audition tapes in their spare time, well, it certainly redefines royal duties, doesn't it? It left many wondering, what exactly is a royal anymore in this brave new world? And if the titles are gone, if the palace perks are a distant memory, what's left to distinguish them from, say, a particularly well-dressed influencer with a fondness for avocado toast? And the titles, or lack thereof, became another comedic goldmine.
One time, I just woke up, I'm in my underwear, I plop down in front of the TV, I turn it on. The moment I turn it on, Prince Harry's talking shit about it.
Trevor, with that deadpan delivery, suggested that losing their titles wasn't even the most embarrassing royal loss he could think of. He famously quipped that it was the biggest royal loss since William's hairline. Ouch. But fair, right? If you're going to lose something, at least let it be something that truly matters, like your ability to pull off a full head of hair.
Prince Harry and Meghan, we don't give a f***. We don't care about the royal family.
They got a Netflix
We never
show.
cared about nothing that had to do with y'all. 1775 was the last time we gave a f***.
He then pointed out the undeniable truth of the celebrity age. Who needs a title when you're already famous enough to be known by your first name? Harry and Meghan. No one's asking, which Harry and Meghan? The ones from Nashville? Unless, of course, they've started a country music duo. But the jokes weren't just about their current state. They peered into the future, a future where choices have consequences. And what about the next generation, the tiny royals who are now just regular kids? Ah, yes, little Archie. Trevor painted a hilarious, yet slightly poignant picture of a future conversation. Archie, perhaps years from now, looking at his parents with wide, confused eyes, saying, wait, we used to be in the royal family? Like, I could have been a king, and now I'm working at Burger King? Is that what you're telling me?
Didn't marry him, she would be on The Bachelor this season. She would be Megan M. from Sherman Oaks barista. She's just got lucky.
It's a comedic take on the grand irony of it all, isn't it? From palaces to drive-thrus. But Trevor's insights weren't just funny, they were foundational. He laid out the case from every angle, creating a blueprint for the comedic pylon that was about to descend. And descend it did. Soon, the American comedy scene, seeing the open season declared, joined the fray. It wasn't just stand-up anymore. It branched into full-blown skits, bizarre rants, and even stranger territory. Remember when the Madame Tussauds wax figures of Harry and Meghan were removed from the royal display? Oh, the comedic possibilities!
H. But if you weren't in the royal family, M wouldn't be with you.
Conan O'Brien, master of the absurd, generously offered to keep them safe. And then he allegedly started talking to them. Whispers grew louder when he claimed they were in a loving home and that he treated them better than the museum ever did. He even went so far as to highlight Meghan's soft hands and Harry's supple lips. Now, we're not saying anything, but you have to wonder what exactly constitutes better treatment for wax figures. Meanwhile, over at Saturday Night Live, they took a different, equally brutal approach with Mikey Day's portrayal of a goofy, attention-seeking Prince Harry. And who could forget the recurring joke about Suits? The jokes about Suits being unwatchable became a running gag, with the actor playing Prince William famously quipping that whenever the kids were fussy and wouldn't go to bed, she puts on an episode of Suits and they're out. It's a comedic jab that resonates with anyone who's ever used a boring show as a sleep aid.
I don't think anyone in the world knows that Meghan Markle has eaten Jack in the Box and loves it.
It's so funny, too, that you keep saying Meghan Markle. You know I'm Sussex now.
And the mockery didn't stop at their professional endeavors. SNL delved into the alleged real-life drama between the brothers, even incorporating physical appearance jokes that escalated into comedic fights. Remember the bit about Buckingham Palace not commenting on political matters, followed by William saying, "Help," after Harry leaves, it was classic sibling rivalry, amplified by royal titles. Even Harry's past relationships weren't safe. One sketch, featuring Emma Stone as an ex, hilariously explained why she was so busy and happy and glad we didn't make it, because she didn't want to be a duchess and live in a huge house for free. But the comedic landscape then shifted, moving from scripted bits to something far more raw and unfiltered. Enter Joe Rogan. This wasn't a pre-written sketch, this was real life, baby. The dynamic completely flipped. Prince Harry had allegedly criticized Rogan for spreading misinformation, and Rogan punched back. He recounted waking up in his underwear, turning on the television, and seeing Prince Harry talking about him. Rogan's first reaction wasn't anger, but a moment of hilarious self-doubt. Did I might have. Harry, in his attempt to control the narrative, had unwittingly handed Rogan a new, more powerful story to tell, making himself the punchline once again. This unfiltered American indifference then bled into stand-up, with comedians like Andrew Schultz dropping all pretense. Prince Harry and Meghan, we don't care about the royal family. We never cared about nothing that had to do with y'all. 1,775 was the last time we gave a... And if that wasn't enough, Nikki Glaser imagined Meghan's alternate reality. If she didn't marry him, she would be on The Bachelor this season. She would be Meghan M. from Oak's Barista. She's just that lucky. But if the American comics were tough, the British stand-ups, with their inherent proximity to the monarchy, went for the jugular, attacking the very foundation of their relationship. British comedian Simon Brodkin allegedly didn't mince words, delivering a brutal truth bomb. I don't know how to break this to you, H, but if you weren't in the royal family, M wouldn't be with you. Ouch. It's the kind of blunt honesty that cuts deep, isn't it? Brodkin also perfectly satirized their Netflix documentary, boiling it down to a cynical summary. Ginger Royal meets fit American actress. She then discovers that everything is so unfair. He then discovers that racism is actually a bad thing. This unfiltered criticism wasn't confined to the stage. It spilled into animated satire like The Prince, which took savage aim at their perceived greed and post-royal financial goals. Remember the line, "We'll just have to find a way to make £50 billion on our own"? The show also took incredibly personal shots at Meghan's character, portraying her as desperate for any kind of attention, with whispers that she'd join the Real Housewives of Beverly Hills because she was so thirsty for any kind of attention. But the most controversial joke, the one that allegedly caused a massive backlash, was yet to come. The ruthless satire from the UK was just getting started, epitomized by the legendary puppet show Spitting Image. Their brutal takedowns included the Prince Harry puppet voicing a criticism clearly aimed at Meghan's post-royal career choices. "I'm here to tell my truth and make a ton of money out of podcasting, as I don't have any discernible talent." While the show painted Meghan as a cynical opportunist, Harry was allegedly portrayed as something even worse. A completely clueless and pampered man-child, whose butler does literally everything for him. Even a 10K run. The mockery extended to his diet, with a jab about Meghan's rank smoothies. This kind of satire also targeted their immense wealth and disconnect from reality, perfectly captured in a punchline about their Netflix deal. Do you have a Netflix account? Yeah, it's got about $9 million in it. The raw anger even found voice among other celebrities like Kelly Osbourne, who unleashed a furious, profanity-laced tirade, complaining about Harry's alleged claims of having the only mental problems. This escalating anger set the stage for the joke that truly crossed the line. Comedian Jimmy Carr delivered the joke that many felt went from personal to dangerously irresponsible. He weaponized the audience's deepest fear about the consequences of Harry leaving the royal fold. The joke, which caused a massive firestorm online, invoked the one person nobody in Britain ever wants to see near the throne, especially after his connection to that infamous island allegedly became public. Carr's punchline was this: if something terrible happened to William and Kate and the kids, right? The Queen and Charles are very old. They're gonna go at some stage and then you're left with King Andrew. No one wants that. It was a moment that revealed how deep the public's frustration ran. But where did all this comedic material truly come from? The answer, as many saw it, lay with the Sussexes themselves. A perfect example, the bizarre controversy that erupted over a single awkward moment in Meghan's own Netflix series. She reportedly corrected actress Mindy Kaling for using her maiden name, stating, "I'm Sussex now." This caught the attention of celebrities like Amy Schumer, who couldn't resist a subtle jab, asking, but why don't we have to call Kate Middleton Kate of Wales? Okay, Hilaria, out. Once the original clip went viral, it allegedly sparked thousands of fan-made parodies, with creators brutally mocking the Duchess's insistence on her title. My name is Megan Sussex. Now call me Meghan Markle one more time, Mindy Kaling. These parodies quickly spiraled, using the incident as a jumping-off point to savage other aspects of her public persona, like her claims of close, one-sided friendships with other A-listers. Mindy and I are such great friends, like besties. Like, I love her. Like, she doesn't know my name, but we're best friends. And then, of course, the roast moved to her curated lifestyle brand. Creators began making parodies that perfectly captured the criticism of her cooking show, claiming it was all style and no substance. You know the kind. The best way to have a snack is to take the snack out of one bag, move them into another bag, and then label this new bag. It just screamed out of touch, didn't it? The parodies culminated in a final, cutting critique of her complete and total disconnect from the lives of regular people, highlighting the absurdity of her giving tips from a position of immense privilege. Everyone says they don't have time to make homemade meals, but if you just have 3 nannies, 2 butlers, a housekeeper, a driver, and a full-time personal assistant, you have all the time in the world. So, what's the final verdict on all this? It's that their story is no longer their own. It has been hijacked. Their narrative has been hijacked by fans, critics, and comedians who use the couple's own words and content as the ultimate weapon against them. This isn't just a PR crisis. It's a fundamental design flaw in their entire post-royal brand. They built a narrative on a series of impossible contradictions that were always destined to collapse under the weight of public scrutiny. This has become the ultimate cautionary tale for the influencer age. You simply cannot demand privacy while selling intimate access to your life. You cannot preach about saving the planet from a private jet, and you cannot lecture the public on hardship while living a life of unimaginable privilege. The hypocrisy eventually becomes a target too big for anyone to miss. That's the vulnerability that comedians like Trevor Noah zeroed in on with surgical precision. They didn't need to be malicious. They just needed to be observant. The global laughter wasn't aimed at simple insults, but at the exposure of a truth that the Sussexes themselves seemed determined to ignore. The punchlines didn't create the problem, they simply revealed it to the world, and that is a bell that can't be unrung. Once the world sees you as a punchline, every attempt to be taken seriously risks becoming part of the joke itself. It leaves us with the only question that matters now for their future. The bombshell Oprah interview was meant to be the final word. Then the Netflix docuseries was meant to set the record straight. Then Harry's memoir Spare was supposed to be his ultimate truth. But each of these multi-million-dollar projects designed to secure their narrative allegedly did the exact opposite. They became content for reactors, fuel for comedians, and evidence for critics, boxing them in further with every truth they told. With their primary weapons now spent and their credibility arguably damaged, what could possibly be the next move? Is it even possible for them to build a new narrative on top of these ruins? Or are they permanently stuck playing the lead roles in a global comedy they never wanted to star in? And what do you think their next move should be? Tell us in the comments below.